Hey guys, what's up? So today we are going to about Verse and Dimensions Wiki's Omnipotence Hierarchy, I guess. So I've discovered this on my video on Verse and Dimensions Wiki. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of entities in the Verse and Dimensions Wiki fandom. Also, I also got inspired by them somewhat. And I also like to give credit to the people who created these cosmological structures. But I don't know their names, so I gotta work for it myself, I guess. So anyways, like I said, so I'm going to talk about this omnipotence hierarchy. So people in the comments, some of them at least, really hate the concept because they think the fandom is, they think like, oh, they don't know what omnipotence really is. So yeah, I've scrolled through the comments and I see a lot of hate. But there is one comment saying that the omnipotence, saying that, I forgot what it said, but I'm just going to use it to do it, like I'm going to spell it as simple as possible. So the omnipotence hierarchy in that comment is said to be inspired by the sets of infinities in mathematical theory. So you see, there are different sets of infinities. There is countable infinity, uncountable infinity, or spatial uncountable infinity, and so on. There is actually around 7 of them. So absolute infinity means true omnipotence, like the Verse and Dimensions Wiki's omnipotent being, like true omnipotence, like the true God, like that in the Verse and Dimensions Wiki fandom. But it can only leave the box and not the realium or the imaginarium, basically. So I decided to take it one step further. I decided to add entities that exist outside of the imaginarium, outside of the omniverse itself, which contains the imaginarium and the realium, and where the true God is, basically. So I decided to add the true God even higher into, like, outside of the omniverse itself, outside of everything, outside of creation itself. And I add my own entities that lives outside of that kind of structures, basically. So I use Verse and Dimensions Wiki as concept to basically make my verse the most powerful, I guess. Yeah, like, people is obsessed with their verse being really powerful these days. Like, I mean, like, think about it. Are you sure that there is a Guinness Book of World Records for one of the most powerful fictional universes ever? Well, no, basically. Unless if I'm wrong, basically. So I've think about another cosmological structure called the infinite verse. If you're probably wondering what the infinite verse is, the infinite verse is basically a verse that contains infinitely many worlds, which views the previous as mere fiction, and where the axions inhabit. But since there are characters in my verse that can transcend beyond infinitely many worlds, which views the previous as mere fiction, that means that they transcend, and another cosmological structure known as the multi-infinity verse. It basically contains infinite verses, which contains infinitely many worlds, which views the previous as mere fiction, like that, and where it also contains a lot of, well, infinitely many worlds, which views the previous as mere fiction, like that. So I decided to add more and more complex structures. I also created the God hierarchy with different types of gods and where they rank in the God hierarchy in terms of power, abilities, and hacks, like that. That's how it works, basically. The reason why I created OP characters like Hyper Infinity, for instance, is to compete against SCP-3812. And when I rediscovered the Leviathan of Stories and also Astral Regulator Thanos, I already have surpassed, the 3 most powerful, that is the Leviathan of Stories, including Astral Regulator Thanos and SCP-3812, who transcends infinitely many worlds, which views the previous as mere fiction. That means that it transcends the infinity verse, which contains infinitely many worlds, which views the previous as mere fiction itself. But my characters have ascended beyond those kind of stuff. And my next objective is to create a character that surpasses the Sugsverse themselves. If you guys remember my previous video, I've heard a YouTuber which his OC is more powerful than SCP-3812 loses to a single Sugsverse character. Like, wow. So my objective today is to basically create a character so powerful that not even the Sugsverse could handle it, nor a kid in the verse who can highball himself to maximum. Yeah, Hyper Infinity is beyond that concept as well. Also, basically, I'm trying to create the most OP verse to have ever existed, and also create multiple different cosmological structures that also existed with a considerable amount. So yeah, that's it for the video. We discuss about, cosmology and verse and dimensions, wiki, fandom, and stuff like that. So anyways, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and peace out.